If you're running a serious consulting business or an agency business and want to stop onboarding the wrong clients, this is for you. Every consultant has at least one client that they wish they'd said no to. I know we have many times. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about how to spot them early so you're not going to do any business with them. I've learned this the hard way because I've been running a design agency for 18 years and we've worked with amazing clients, but we've also had some that turned out not to be so great. And we unfortunately learned this the hard way. So in this episode, I'm going to tell you what to look for early in the communication with clients, the big red flags, so you can spot which clients to not work with. The thing with these clients is that they're not bad people or bad companies. It's just that you're not a good match. So you need to see which things are good for you to work on and which things are not so good. What I want to do is help you catch these bad clients before you sign any contract with them, and then you're stuck with them and that's going to cost you eventually later. And when do you spot these red flags? It's in the first conversations that you're having. It's in the email sequence that you're sending back and forward, or the DMs, or the first call. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about how to spot bad clients early on, which warning signs actually matter, which ones you should never ever ignore, and how to say no without feeling guilty about it later, and how to be polite and how to still have an open door if they later will be a better match for you. Before we dive into the red flags, I want to talk to you about what it actually costs you to work with bad clients and what they do to both your business and your mental health and your team. First, your energy is going to be completely drained. Your ability to focus is going to be wasted because you constantly have to deal with their problems and with their way of working. Your creative spark might get a little bit deflated. Your team's mood is completely going to get very irritated. Not a good thing. Your name is put to the test because here, of course, it's your entire reputation. If they are not satisfied later, they go and tell this to other people. And what they say to other companies or other people might not reflect on the actual facts about you. It's just that you are not a good match and they had a bad experience because they might be not good clients. And so this is what they will reflect on you later. It's going to affect your bank account because when you have bad clients, they tend to constantly get your attention and have you do more things, more meetings, more conversations, more this, more that. So eventually your margins is going to be very drained. And the last thing, your confidence. Whenever we've had really bad clients, it's been a total, I had to calibrate for months after to get back into the right mindset again. We had one client, they completely ruined one vacation. It took me months afterwards to actually get back into some sort of a normal state again, because it just leaves such a bad taste in your mouth and you're questioning everything that you're doing. Not a good situation. One other aspect that bad clients can have a bad effect on is that they can ruin your other good projects because, of course, the ripple effect gets on everything that you're doing and your team and your time and the work that you're doing. And as I mentioned earlier, they can sometimes take up your entire schedule and your entire week because they constantly poke on your attention. And so what this eventually tends to happen is that you burn out, your team burns out, and they question why they're doing it. They are not happy and you're just miserable. So yeah, we do not want this to happen. I'm going to share with you 15 red flags that you need to look out for. And I'm going to share this with you in a framework that has 5 categories. And the 5 categories are respect, clarity, control, accountability, and values. And you don't need to see all 5 to, of course, walk away. Sometimes you just need one. And if it's a big one, that's enough. So yeah, let's dive in and see. First category, respect. So the first red flag is that they don't respect your time. They come late to the calls, or they keep rescheduling constantly. They expect you to answer immediately, but they don't. They message you at weird hours. We've had clients message us in the middle of the night constantly, even though we've said, please, we have a 9 to 5 opening schedule. So yeah, and of course, if they don't respect your time before you sign the contract with them, why do you think that they would respect your time after you sign the contract? Red flag number 2, they trash talk everyone they've worked with before. And here it goes. They say things like, everyone we hired before was really awful, or nobody ever does what they say they will do, or we've already fired 3 people before we called you. If it's constantly someone else that is the problem, then it means that it's something strange with these guys, right? Because if they find that nobody can actually deliver what they want, then there's something wrong. And also, if someone trash talks other people, of course, they will also trash talk you. Red flag number 3, they push your limits right from the start. And here it's things like, oh, please, can you just do me this quick favor just for this once? Or they want to have free advice, or they want you to plan things for them, or just to test you out if you know your things, if you actually know what you're talking about, because they don't actually want to pay, but they want to have the guarantee. Yeah, that's definitely a no as well. And let's move to category number 2. And here we're talking about clarity, red flags. And these clients here, they're almost like they're creating chaos because they can't decide on what they want or why they want certain things, and they just don't want to make any decisions. So the red flag number 4 here is that they can't tell you what good looks like. Basically, they can't tell you what they want. So they say things that, I know it when I see it, you just need to show me a lot of things, or just make it better. What does that mean, better? From what perspective? We've heard this one a lot. Yeah, you're the expert. Surprise me. Yeah, but I could surprise you in 1,000 different ways. What am I supposed to take from that? It's just so vague. And when they say this, what does it mean? Because they never know exactly what they want or where we're going with the project. So it ends up with a lot of changes, a lot of going back and forth. The goal is constantly moving and everyone's getting frustrated. And to have a successful project, in the end, you have to be really clear with what you want, because otherwise it's really hard for someone else to deliver on what you want. Red flag number 5, everything is really urgent, but they're never ever ready. They want super quick results and the deadline is really tight, but they always somehow end up missing their own deadlines. And they don't send you what you need in order to do your job. They don't look at anything that you send them. They just, you have to constantly remind them. They want everything yesterday, but then they took 2 weeks to get back to you. That's a really bad sign, because later when you're on a deadline and on a schedule with clear milestones, of course, if they don't do their part, then the project is going to be delayed for sure. Category 3, and here we're talking about control red flags. And these are the clients who won't let you do your job. They want to micromanage everything. The red flag number 6 is that they micromanage before they even know you. So you haven't signed anything, you haven't started the project, but yet they want to micromanage everything. So they question everything that you do. They want updates on everything, even though you haven't started the project yet. And they need you to explain everything and every decision in minuscule detail. And they want to approve every single tiny detail. We've worked with this client and we ended up losing money on this project because they wanted so many things and to have constant control and to have things upon things done extra that it was a mess, and we did not work with this client ever again after that. This usually comes from them being nervous and insecure. From the beginning, you have to make sure that you tell them your competence and your expertise, but still, if they don't cool down, you have to eventually say no, because it's going to be a nightmare. And red flag number 7, these clients, they want to see results, but they hate the process. They want to have all the amazing results and the growth and the change, but then they fight you when you implement structure or when you share your systems and your processes and you want to stick to a timeline. But whenever they see that, they're like, yeah, no, we don't. These type of clients are usually used to working alone and not in a team, and not letting someone else take control and actually do the work. They want to constantly keep everything close. It's not going to get better. And then we're looking at the opposite, the red flag number 8, where nobody actually is in charge, where you're working with a team and there's multiple people, but nobody has the mandate to make the final decision. So you end up sitting in multiple meetings and things going back and forward, but nobody's actually taking charge. You're taking charge and you're requesting things to move forward, but internally it takes a long time. No one's making the final calls. They don't give you the feedback that you need to actually make any progress. So it's like you have to constantly follow up and constantly ask them for feedback, for approvals, for decisions. And the bad thing with this is that if nobody owns the decision internally, guess who's going to be blamed if something goes bad? Yeah, that's you. Category number 4, and here we're looking at accountability red flags. And these are the most dangerous ones over time. We're looking at potential clients that do weird stuff around money. In the first call, they already start haggling about the price, but they don't even know the deliverables yet, but they start talking about the price. Or they drag their feet on the deposits they are supposed to pay to get the project started. Or nobody seems to know what the budget actually is internally. So when you're asking, sure, we could be delivering this and this, but in order for us to deliver the best solution, what is your budget for this? How much can we allocate? And they have no idea. They're like, yeah, would you tell me? And when they say that to you, you know that they're either just out fishing, they're not serious, or they have no idea and this is going to be a problem later. Or they say some things like, yeah, let's just talk about money later. No, money, you're never talking about money later. You're talking about money the first thing you're talking about, because either you're a match or you're not a match. And if you're not a match and you give them, here is what I think the project is going to land in between, and then you give them a figure bracket. If they say, yeah, no, then of course, and you're not a match there, of course, you're not even going to send them a proposal. So money is extremely important that you talk about from the get-go. And if they don't agree and respect the agreements, and when you talk about the money, they will for sure not sign you a contract later either. Red flag 11, they avoid writing things down or actually noting. They say things like, yeah, let's talk about this later, or yeah, it's not that important, let's just keep this verbal. Yeah, we'll figure it out as soon as we go. They don't actually want to have any accountability. They want the flexibility, but then they also want to change their minds. So they want to stay flexible, which means that they don't want to make final decisions or actually commit to something. They don't want anything to actually point back to them later. They might have a boss that's a pain in the ass, so they don't want to reflect badly, or yeah, I don't know, this has happened to us and it's really frustrating, but it almost always turns into scope creep later. You'll end up losing both time and money. Red flag number 12, everything is always your fault. So if you miss a deadline, or if something happens, or if there's something about the feedback, but they always blame you, it's everything that happens is somehow your fault. You haven't even gotten to signing the contract, yet they blame you for things that they have done or not done. That this is a really big red flag, because if they blame everyone else, they never take any responsibility. It's going to be really hard to work with a client like that. Category 5, and this one's about values and ethics, and this one has been one of the most important red flags for us anyhow, because we at the design agency, we have very strict values that we follow. And so if a client is not a match, then of course it's going to be a problem. These are somewhat personal, and you should never, I think, compromise on them if either they're personal to you, if you're a founder, or to you as a team and core business. This is going to be your reputation, basically, that's going to be put on the line eventually. Here we're looking at their values not matching yours. They might have shady business practices, or they might be manipulative, or they might pretend to be ethical, but they're actually not. And you have done some digging and you see that it's something shady here. Or they might treat their own employees badly, or the suppliers or manufacturers or their partners. And if you know that, that's also the way that they will be treating you eventually. Yes, you might need the money, but it's never worth the money to take on a client that is a mismatch to your own values. Red flag number 14, and here's where they treat you like you're replaceable. And yeah, you might be, but that's not a good way to treat you and talk to you, because all of a sudden there's a lack of respect and they constantly compare you to others. They, even in the first call, they might say, yeah, but we talked to this and they are way cheaper, or they can do this as well in the price. Fine, great, awesome. Go with them then. So again, look at your own integrity and ethics and morals and values, and where do you stand? If someone's constantly questioning you or threatening you on your values and morals, that's not a good way to go. And if they use the competition to scare you, what does that say about them? And of course, already from the beginning, that's a broken relationship, not something that's going to be stronger throughout the project, but something that's going to be even worse. And the last one is on when they reach out to you and you do some sort of a due diligence and you find that there's no information about them. They don't want to talk on the phone. They don't want to talk. If you do a Google Meet, they don't want to turn their camera on. They always want to stay on email. That's a bit weird, because if you're going to work with this person for a long period of time and they never want to actually reveal themselves and just stay hidden by just communicating via email, that's a serious red flag. So now that we've covered the 15 red flags, what do you actually do when you've seen these red flags? And this is actually the hard part, because you need to stay committed and you need to have integrity and know who you are and stay your ground, right? So first option is, of course, to walk away really early. If you're sensing in your gut that this is not something to proceed with, then say, yeah, I don't think we're the right fit. You say this in a polite manner, and then you can also say, I can recommend you to this and this other partner. Or you can say, we're fully booked for now. Good luck. I wish you all the best. And the option number 2 is that you're actually calling their flags out directly just to see if they can course correct. So if a red flag is not that bad, you can bring it up early. For example, yeah, for us to do our best work, we need one person making the final decision. Can you say who that person can be? And then maybe they all of a sudden, yeah, sure, that's not a problem. Or you can say that our process needs timely feedback to keep things moving. Can you agree to getting back to us at least with a 24-hour window every time we send you something? And if they say, yeah, sure, that's fine, it's not a problem, thanks for letting us know, then at least you know that you can work with that. It's not something that they would not want to change their mind on. But if they push back on these things, if you bring these up, then that's your answer right there. You know how the rest of the project is going to be. So walking away from a potential bad client just means that you're getting experienced.